setup for other abilities, but in this tri-lane, there is no reason for setup. Your Clinks has got boots very quickly anyways, because you gotta kill immediately off the Shackles, which is fine. Level 1 Shackles is fine, because it actually deals okay damage. That's fine. But at level 2, you do not need Hex. Unless you have, like, an Ursa in lane with you, then still you don't need Hex. Radiant's Courier is actually gonna die? Oh, we get caught up by the Bounty Hunter. Bounty Hunter then also killed off the Gyrocopter. Yes, over Venom. Nice. A wraparound attempt here by our Nyx Assassin. Nope, no lift. Actually, lift already being used by the Rubik and not actually... They did actually use it correctly. But they went on the Ogre. They went on the tankiest person in this tri-lane. That is not who you want to try to burst on. Again, killing the Ogre doesn't do anything. He's annoying, but you want to kill the Shadow Shaman because he's kind of squishy, and especially the Clinks, but they have no detection in their lane. If you're going to aggro try to shut down the Clinks, you would generally want to buy items that let you kill the Clinks. Clinks is actually out of mana here and can get caught out. No Shackles, though. Or no Impale, and our Rubik was way out of position. Sunstrike being used and cleans up the Lifestealer. Nice. And Invoker actually rotates in. This is not necessary, friends. Your tri-lane is already beating the enemy tri-lane very hard on its own. You do not need to rotate in your Invoker. Invoker right now is not gaining as much experience as he would if he was mid lane, and is letting Tinker catch up and farm. Two things that you do not want to do. You want to keep Tinker away from his VOTs, and Invoker being in the lane was doing that. And you want your Invoker to get solo experience, because he's very, very experience reliant. And your tri-lane already won. You do not need to give your lanes help if they're winning on their own. Dota is a game that is entirely about optimizing your gold and experience gain. 100%. While trying to inflict as much map control damage as possible on the enemy team so that they cannot get as much gold and experience. That's it. Getting into like how much gold and experience you need on certain heroes for them to reach their peaks is the difference of hero picks and stuff like that. But Invoker should have just stayed mid, and if anything, your supports from the tri-lane rotate out. Like, the Ogre should leave, and the Shadow Shaman and Clink should stay. The Shadow Shaman should have been the one pulling as well, not the Ogre. The Ogre doesn't need the levels. Ogre could have just been trying to trade harass as much as he possibly could. Maybe with the Nyx Assassin trying to absorb the mana from this tri-lane. Mana in spells, that is, you know. Because if the tri-lane has no mana, something is having no health, they can't do anything. They're actually going to catch off this Tinker. Tinker overextending, and that's cool. But again, leveling up Shackles is stupid. I don't want to sound mean, but it's not good. And he's still skilling it up. You do not need a 4-second disable with this lineup. They do enough damage on their own. Invoker does not need that against this lineup. What do you need to Shackle for 4 seconds to kill them? That bonus 260 damage on 5 targets every 8 seconds will not help you with. Max out Ether Shock first. 95% of the times you play Shadow Shaman, you should max out Ether Shock first. Okay? I'm giving it 95% because there is no 100% situation in Dota, but that's mostly an 100% situation. Don't do this like, disables are good, so I max out disables build. Yes, disables are good, but you need them in balance with damage. And this makes Shadow Shaman a very, very weak hero in the game. Trust me, if he had, they're gonna initiate onto Super Swag. Look, he drops. He's gonna drop. He got caught out here and could. Ogre's gonna get caught out here as well. Just very bad rotation, understanding of what the hell is going on coming up from the Dark Rating team or the Dark team. And they had an Observer Ward. That's not something you walk into. Yeah. And again, that fight could have probably gone better for the Dire team. If their Shadow Shaman gets caught out and dies, one of the things you want to always do if you're getting caught out in Dota is just do as much damage as you possibly can to the enemies. And yeah, our Clinks is also going to die. Overextending for a kill on an underfarmed Tinker who is being shut down by the Invoker. You have no reason to leave your lane.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
If 4 people come up here, then you just rotate your Bounty Hunter up and effectively pick off somebody when they're like out of position. Like maybe the Nyx Assassin because he's the main reliable stun. But again, maxing out Shackles, as we saw here, doesn't do anything when there's a bunch of stuns in the enemy team. Like, Nyx Assassin and Rubik were both there. Because you have spent 3 skill points in an ability that is countered by 1 skill point in another ability. Look, Xenon here is going to die again without dropping his Ether Shock. If he had a level 3, he would have hit all 4 heroes and done a lot of damage, and this would be a kill right now on Lifestealer. And probably Nyx Assassin would be dead as well. But they TP in 1 at a time and all die. So, the Bounty Hunter needs to be here. and he's not. He's farming even though he's level 9, which is completely wrong. As a bounty hunter player, you need to hit level 6, and then you fucking kill stuff. You don't need to get to level 9, you don't need to farm, and he's way late to this as a CP rotation. He even has full phase boots. I will roam as bounty hunter, and this isn't me saying that this is what I do, so it's correct. This is me saying this is what I've seen every single competitive player ever do. Every game they've ever played bounty hunter is you roam at 6, and even before that, if you can win your other lanes. That's generally, if you're a bounty hunter in a lane that you're losing, you can roam. But this is not good play, and now they're going to lose a tier 1 tower, and their Trillian just lost. A Trillian that had won ridiculously hard just lost, and they get a track kill, which is nice. But these fights would have all gone much better if Bounty Hunter ported in immediately when 4 people were here, and they saw that the Gyrocopter left. Bounty Hunter should have ported in, because Gyrocopter needs way more farm than a Bounty Hunter to be effective in this game. And Bounty Hunter had managed to hit 6. So if Gyrocopter is abandoning his farm, just go kill him. And if you get any track kills in that fight, even if you trade 1 for 1, any of those kills as track gold makes it beneficial. And again, the entire Dire team is going to die. A nice Sunstrike's going to clean up 1. This is what I'm talking about. You have pretty much a +1 engagement on every single lane with Invoker if he just sits mid. And he'll get a lot of experience and be really, really powerful mid-game when the team fights actually start happening. But the person who should be rotating in if a lane needs support is the Bounty Hunter, because he does not need farm. This hero functions entirely off of his skills, and to farm, you kill shit.
Radiant's middle tower
So far,
attack.
Since I know that the Dire team is the team who sent this in, that I would say that is your biggest issues as a team. You're playing a lot better. You won the trial lane, which is good. Your draft, I think, is better than that of the Radiant team. Maybe, actually. I take that back. I think the Radiant team's draft is probably stronger, but they laned it very, very poorly. And you guys took advantage of that. You shut down the Nakes, you made sure you harassed him very, very heavily, but he still has phase boots and almost has a full armlet right now at 12 minutes. So he was not shut down enough. He actually has more last hits than your safe lane Clinks, which is ridiculously bad. Clinks should have 0 issues farming in a defensive trial lane that you won at level 1. The fact that your Clinks has less farm than your Bounty Hunter, that just means you gotta work on your mechanics, guys. Like, if you want to improve, you gotta learn how to last hit. Now, as a Clinks, man, you got plus 30 damage at level 1. Well, at least in this instance, since he didn't need to take Skeleton Walk. You should not. You should be at probably 72 last hits. You know, 6 a minute should not be hard. He should actually almost be closer to that 4 hits right now. Teamfight happening. Lloyd misses Meteor. What is that? Strafe stolen by Rubik. That's an atrocious spell pulse that's going to be used onto the Gyrocopter. And here we go. Our Clinks rotates in. Is going to pick up the Gyrocopter, which is very good, and is also going to clean up the Rubik. So for some reason, the Dire Radiant team was behind and chose to dive at tier 2 to try to kill a bunch of heroes when you're against a Bounty Hunter, and they fed a bunch of track gold. So if you look at the gold charts, this is where they came back into the game from the Dire team misplaying, and this is track gold coming into effect. The Radiant team has much better late game, like vastly better late game than the Dire team in this game. Insanely better. And I say that because they have a Tinker and then 2 farmers. Tinker is, I've gotten into debates with people many times on forums and stuff, like friendly debates, when someone says, what is the hardest 6-slot carry in the game? And I will universally say it's Tinker. They say it's probably Void if you get like even like you can go any items, you can go Refresher Orb, Aghanim Scepter, and like Gem, you catch out Tinker or like something, you know, or whatever hero you're against. And I say still, I will always say Tinker because it's even if it's a coin flip, if Tinker has infinite items, like whatever items you want in 6 slots, and can blink and get off that first hex, he wins every engagement. Unless, you know, Void goes 3 hearts, but then he doesn't hit for any damage, and you can just E-blade him repeatedly. And I don't think the Tinker dies, and the Tinker gets a heart. You know, like... So Tinker is terrifying with items. The issue is he needs to get BOTs, then Blink, then Hex, generally, to be fully useful. But then he can infinitely, and Soul Ring, then he can infinitely Hex people. So, the Dire team did a good job of shutting down the Tinker. Mostly the Tinker just won a stupid skill build that he didn't need to go. He should have just gone the March build. It's way safer, especially against that better ganking lineup. That is a very, very dead
bottom
Revenge.
tower is under attack.
But Tinker, paired up with Nakes, is a decent global ganking force, since you just infest in the Tinker and he BOTs in, and if he has a blink, easy kills. And then Gyrocopter is probably one of the strongest late game carries, just because he can always go Rapier. No matter how bad a game is, you can always buy a Rapier on Gyrocopter and hope to God you flat cannon and get off all 6 hits and kill the entire enemy team. I've seen countless professional games where a Gyrocopter will be in a team and they're ridiculously behind, like sitting in their base for probably 30 minutes out of a 45-minute game, buys a Rapier, comes back and wins the game. So Gyrocopter is terrifying with farm. Lifestealer is very, very strong mid-game with farm, or even without even that much farm. And Tinker can lock down one hero infinitely with pretty good farm. So all the Dire team needed to do, I think, was just continue to shut down the Nakes, shut down maybe the Tinker, who was already losing in the 1v1 to the Invoker, so that's fine. Maybe roam the Ogre mid to kill off the Tinker, and continue to shut down the farm of the Lifestealer. And then once your Bounty Hunter hits 6, destroy this offensive Tri lane, because again, they were losing and had to stay to protect their Lifestealer, but they were choosing to at least. And yeah, just exploit the weak laning of a Tinker Lifestealer without any farm in Gyrocopter. Gyrocopter wouldn't have had a BKB by the time your Lifestealer or your Bounty Hunter hits 6, but once that happens, your Bounty Hunter and your 2 supports can roam around. And if you properly warded for your Clinks and your Invoker, they're fine. They can just sit in lane, and Invoker again has Sunstrike and blows the shit out of people. But again, if we look now, it's 16 minutes in and Shadow Shaman is level 6. Shadow Shaman was level 5 at like 10 minutes maybe? Maybe less. But because he has 0 flash farming capacity, because you put 1 point in Ether Shock, he can't catch up in the game again. And it's rushing an Urn, which should be on this hero, who is also building an Urn. Nice double Urn build, guys. Shadow Shaman desperately needs mana boots because his spells cost so much, and especially if you go this awkward build where you level up your disables, they cost ridiculous amounts. And again, you do no damage, so he has to get off the full channeling of them for them to actually be effective. But then not even that, he has to get off his full channeling, and then your Clinks has to continuously hit to actually ensure damage out of these disables, which is again the issue with going this mass disable build is. If you see a Shadow Shaman who at level 7 has a 4-second shackles, you can just, 1, stop the shackles, and that's all of the effective disable gone, or just kill the Clinks, and then your Shadow Shaman is stuck, also disabled, because shackles disables you as well. Just not doing anything really, shutting down 1 hero. We have initiation again, here we go, let them die, Gyrocopter closes the Bounty Hunter. We're gonna work onto our Ogre Magic, who's very tanky, but flag. Or a Strafe gonna do some good damage to our Lifestealer. Lifestealer though has an armlet, it's armlet toggling like a boss. Gonna get 1 last click onto our Ogre Magi and he dies. So, you guys won the Tri lane and are, I believe, under level.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Your 2 supports are under level to 2 offensively tri-laning supports that didn't roam, or that didn't do anything effectively this game. And I think that is, again, I'll say it again, just indicative of your Bounty Hunter misplaying this game. I think Bounty Hunter did not play well. He's farming when he shouldn't. He actually has 5, his KDA is like 10, which is pretty ridiculous, but it could have been higher and your supports should have been getting more items. Also going double Hex, or double Silence, which is pretty good. That's okay. I'd rather have a BKB on the Bounty Hunter, because he can just run at people and take no damage. But I guess double Hex, or double Orchids is okay. And pick them both at the same time. Cool. So, 19 minutes, your safe lane protected Clinks got his Orchids. Only at 48 last hits in 18 minutes. Not really acceptable. He could have this at like 13 minutes. Especially when the enemy rotated their Gyrocopter with no items top. If you blew him up with burst damage, like if your Shadow Shaman had burst damage and your Bounty Hunter rotated in, you would have this so quickly, and this game would have probably been over by now. You guys have taken 1 tower with a Shadow Shaman that won the tri-lane. And with a Clinks. It's so not good. Either way, cool. Your Invoker has a lot of farm. Let's just go to net worth, that's important. Invoker has a lot of farm. The Tinker is super broke. But he has his BOTs. It took him 19 minutes to get his BOTs, which is good, but it's mostly just because he's been playing like shit all game. Got 1 urn up. Got 2 urns up. Don't you guys all know each other? Like, why would you buy 2 urns? Yeah. If you're gonna play support in Dota, you gotta always be in communication with the other support in your team so you don't buy the same items because you have no farm. You're not supposed to be getting farm. The whole fun of playing support is you optimize your item builds so effectively with almost no gold and then own really hard all early game. It's great. It's the best. But either way, we're seeing the weakness of Ogre Magi, especially as a first pick. This hero is really shitty in lane. Like, really shitty in lane against decent actual laning supports like a Rubik.
Haste!
I mean, he was against a dual melee lane and still didn't do phenomenally, so that's indicative of just, honestly, just kind of misplays. But either way, Nicholas Cage's going to pick up a solo kill here, showing off his Orchids. The Radiant team somehow, nice feed! What a dick. Not really optimizing their items, and they're going to clean up another one. Here we go, Bounty Hunter finally coming into fruition. Again, sitting at level, spent so much time in lane. He does have the 3rd highest net worth, but he could still be at this high level. The entire enemy team could have about 1,000 less gold on all their cores, at least, and these supports could have about 3,000 more gold each, if he roamed more effectively. The strength of Bounty Hunter is track. It is not sitting in lane and farming. He's not a very good laner. He just can get experience. And that's all he needs, is to hit level 6 and kill everyone and help other lanes. 100% the point of Bounty Hunter is just to be annoying, get 6, kill people. Take even trades, even when you're 11 and 16, you can take lopsided trades and it's still better for your team. He is the ultimate comeback mechanic. And the ultimate, like, lead solidifier. If you're winning with a bounty hunter who's in all the fights, oh my god, you're ahead by like 30k gold. Blink's killing everybody. It's really just because the raiding team is not prepared to fight against invisible heroes, and no one has any detection. The next assassin went Urn and is now rushing a Dagon instead of having detection or a Ghost Scepter, so he's just going to feed all game. The Gyrocopter shows off his BKB and actually gets a double kill, or a triple kill. Which I think is just overextending from the Radiant team. They're not really pushing as a team. For some reason, their Shadow Shaman is dicking around mid when he should be fighting with other people. And again, he still has 1 point in Ether Shock, which is just atrocious. It's... You feel so painfully useless when you're a Shadow Shaman and this is your skill build. Like, he's trying to farm a mech and he has no flash farming. Like, why would you do this? Why would you do this? Like, he can't get a mech. He can't get any gold. He can't really get any experience because he just walks in lane and throws up disables and runs away. He is the ultimate. He's not even like a babysitter at this point. He has to be babysat by other heroes, and other people always have to be around him for him to be effective. It's just, don't do this on Shadow Shaman. And I understand that it sounds like this is my opinion, and it is my opinion that you don't do this on Shadow Shaman, but it's really just everyone's opinion who's played competitive Dota. You don't do this on Shadow Shaman. I know when I first started getting competent at Dota and I realized how important it is to have a lot of disables and to optimize your skill builds and things like this, I used to do this exact same build on Shadow Shaman. So I understand what the mindset is, but it's actually just not effective. It'll actually reduce the effectiveness of the hero and your team's damage output. Like, look at this. If you Ether Shocked here, all these heroes would be at, like, at least 2/3 HP. But instead, he hexed and nothing happened. There's a march going on. There's, other heroes have abilities that can just cancel his X follow-up disable. He's going to drop the Shackles, and Meteor's going to be dropped as well. Lifeslur is going to actually die. That's because I think the Rubik just didn't run in and lift like he should have.
Radiant structures are fortified.
Bounty Hunter is trying to backstab. Needs to be in this fight. He could actually just kill everybody, but he's playing very, very passive. I guess checking. He's going to kill up one. He's going to kill up both. This is a feed by our Gyrocopter. Instead of just taking the tower, they decided to dive it, and they're all going to die. Forfeit call by our very misplaying Lifestealer. Smiley face from Xenon. X-Nenon, whatever your name is, yo. This is the brokest Tinker of all time. Again, now going back from March, if he had March this whole time, he can at least stop the inevitable pushes a little bit better coming out from the Shadow Shaman. and the Clinks. I liked the Tinker pick because it was good against pushing early, but then he skilled really fucking stupidly.
Radiant's tower is under attack.
Doing fine on the supports. Smiley face. Not really. The Nyx Assassin
Radiant's
didn't place his
bottom
wards
tower is
early
under
enough to
attack.
Federate
Radiant's
First Blood,
top tower
and then
has
that kind
fallen.
of screwed the lane over. Either way, just because I know how the game ends up, and I know that people are going to be watching this is going to be the Dire team, I'm just casting this from a more coaching viewpoint, which I don't know if that's what you guys wanted, but it's just kind of how I feel like casting it, so... No points up on Nullfield coming out from our Rubik. I don't think that's a good idea, friend. I mean, you are against Clinks, which is a lot of fucking physical damage. But yeah, you're also against an Ogre and a... I guess Shadow Shaman doesn't do any magic damage, and an Invoker, so... Invoker actually maxing out Quas and Extort, that's not really a thing. I mean, it makes your... Clearly it makes your Quas Extort abilities like cracked out as hell, but you really only need 4 points in Quas, and then you can max out Wex. It's generally more effective, and it makes the hero a lot more versatile. Because you got all the damage you need from Extort. 4 points in Quas gives you double Forge Spirits, which is really what you want. And then if you max out Wex, you have things like a really good level Tornado and a good level EMP. Alright, as you max it out, you get a higher disable on your Deafening Blast, right? Deafening Blast's disable is affected by Wex. Yeah. The Disarm is affected by Wex, so you want to level up Wex on that. Although the pushback is... knockback is affected by Quas? Yeah. So you have level 4 Quas, still 1 second knockback, then you max out the Disarm. And the Disarm scales better. It scales by 0.5 over 0.25. So, it's not a disable, but it's still good. Disarm's still good. Especially against this rating team. So either way, I don't agree with this build coming out from Invoker at all. I don't think you need to do this. Also, the early points and Alacrity help you push really hard with Clinks. And leveling up Ignite. Ignite is okay, but again, I think Bloodlust is way better. Since you don't have guaranteed levels as a support, ever. Especially as one who cannot flash farm like Ogre Magi. I know Ignite gives you a pseudo flash farm, but again, the hero's not picked to sit in the jungle and farm. He's picked to be aggressive and to roam around. Because he's not ranged and he has a stun. So, that's the point of the hero. It's the pressure lanes and roam. And Bloodlust is, again, it's just better. It's better than Ignite. It's probably his best ability, honestly. Tinker Feeder. Yep. Totally no one's fault besides it. See, it's the Tinker's fault. It's the... Yeah. The Rubik, I think, was called a feeder. You guys are butthurt. No, he is. I mean, this guy wanted a stupid skill build. He's going for a Desolator. God, that's not what you need. Nobody buying BKBs. I don't really know why. I guess at the skill level being shown by the rating team, they don't really have the coordination that you need BKBs, but dude, BKBs are so good. Back finish by our Shadow Shaman. He is super under level. And again, just hasn't really been effective at all this game. We have a double kill being picked up. Walking into it and dying. Sentry Wards being picked up by a team. Oh my god, nice. Oh, and he went Blink. Yes! I think you guys watched that Speed Gaming game where Ii-sama did the same build, and it's awesome. Or, you know, I'll tell you right now, my man Nicolas Cage, if you actually thought this build on your own and didn't get it from watching a competitive game, nice, it's really sweet, right? And if you got it from watching like Ii-sama or someone, nice, it's really sweet, right? But either way, dude, you gotta work on your farming. You could have been so much further ahead in this game if you didn't necessarily rotate and then not rotate your bounty hunter. It's not what needed to have happening. It's not what needed to happen. So, there's a point in this game where you guys were behind, which just should not have happened with how poorly the Radiant team laned. Gonna kill the shit out of Rubik. Intentionally trolled the picks and obscene language. How are these picks trolled?
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Yeah, no one cares, Radiant team. You guys all played like shit. Again, the game's not that far behind. Well, it wasn't that far behind. They started bitching like here, which is funny. Nyx Assassin gonna get aggressive, not going to kill anybody. Bounty Hunter blows up a Tinker.
Another fugitive.
Tinker still has 0 items. I have never seen a Tinker played so poorly.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
This guy is incredibly bad at Dota. This Aloy gonna miss his combo. Not really properly using the Yule Scepter, but whatever. Doesn't really matter. He can be being popped by Gyrocopter and touch nonetheless. They're gonna click down our Clinks, but he has the Aegis. So Slot Machine being procced once. Click, click, you dead, bro. That was a very big crit.
That hurt.
Wah. Lol.
Radiant's middle tower.
So this game's pretty much over. It's, I think you said it was one-sided when you posted this, my friend. But actually it wasn't that one-sided. There is, the Radiant team did make an aggressive attempt in this game, and it paid off, and then they misplayed after that by not actually shutting down the Clinks when Clinks started getting items. Which is nice for you guys. And you guys had some good synergistic fights. You got levels up in your Invoker. He played good in his 1v1 matchup. Bounty Hunter played okay. I mean, he got experience. There's not really much you had to do in that besides get experience. Again, I think the main issues are you needed more farm on the Clinks early.
Dire's bottom tower
You
is
could
under
have had
attack.
your... should probably go crits too, but MKB's cool.
Dire's
Does he have
bottom
the
tower
evasion?
has
No, there's no
fallen.
evasion in the game. You should go crit. It's more effective. Adds more damage. Either way, Ogre Magic was the one pulling. You don't want Ogre Magic pulling, but your Shadow Shaman pulling generally. Well, actually, I'm okay with the Ogre pulling, just because then he's off the map, and you have your 2 600 range heroes still in the lane to harass out the Nakes, which was good. You guys did harass the Nakes really, really hard, which is a good thing to notice. The Nakes was very low on regen because of a fight going on over here, but. I feel like you try to do too much in lane. Like, your supports, I think, tried to be too aggressive and got caught out a couple times, and that kind of let the Radiant team back in the game. Again, just continuously shutting down the Nakes means you're winning the lane, because they're investing 3 heroes into the offlane to guarantee farm on their Gyrocopter, and supposedly guaranteeing farm on the Lifestealer. So if you shut down the Lifestealer, the supports will get nothing in lane. They will be getting no farm, because they have no pulls, and very little experience, and you can then pull. So as long as you just stop the Nakes from farming and keep the lane back, you win the fucking lane so hard. And then you have Invoker Sunstrikes to support, and when Bounty Hunter hits 6 and you come and actually fight, the enemy supports will be so fucking under level, and yours will be over leveled, that you just dominate them for the rest of the game. That is how that lane is supposed to be played. It's very simple, it's very nice. I feel like the thing you guys need to work on, like I've been explaining in grander terms, in more concise terms, is just understanding what heroes you need to shut down and why. Which comes down to drafting a lot, but this draft could shut down the Lifestealer. Again, some of the heroes I don't think really make sense. Like, I don't know why the Ogre is in this, but it's not... You can work around it. Like, when you see that they missed lane like that, they needed to lane the Gyrocopter top and they Lifestealer bot. 100% that was what they were supposed to do. That was the point of their draft, the point of offensively trial-laning. But they didn't. So, from that point on, this game should have been pretty easy. And it was, you guys did. You won it. You won it pretty decently smoothly for a tough game. So I give you guys a thumbs up. It's definitely better. Definitely better than last game. The draft is much more conducive to winning. Your draft last game was intensely passive against a very, very, very aggressive lineup. So I'd love to see some more games of you guys. I might actually creeper upon you and see if I can find some like some other games where your whole stack plays, even ones where you maybe lost. I feel like you learn the best from games that you lose, especially if you're playing as a team. So then you actually have nothing to blame but yourselves, you know? That's why I like if I play with the 5-second I lose. If I know all of the 5-second, I know they're all actually trying and competent players, it's not necessarily the worst thing. If the game is close, at least.
Radiant's middle barracks are under attack.
But yeah, it was not a bad draft. I like it. I think that I really do like the Clinks against Snakes. It's pretty strong. Clinks is just good in this patch.